So, welcome everyone. Today, welcome to the Project Emerald Collective. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Sharon Craggill, and today we're exploring the connection between identity, fashion, mental well-being, and conscious living. Sharon brings a unique perspective through her background in health psychology, naturopathy, and her passion for circular fashion. Together, we're going to unpack why feeling good in our clothes goes far deeper than appearance and what happens when we reconnect with who we truly are. So, welcome, Sharon.
Thank you, Eve. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today, and I hope my beautiful emerald scarf is making us feel really part of it, of
Well,
what you do,
it is.
your amazing, wonderful work that you're doing. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much. So let's dive right in. I was hoping to kick off with fashion as self-expression and diving into that topic. So you've said that fashion sits at the core of who we are. What do you mean by that exactly?
Look, I try to keep things very, very simple, and I always look for examples. And I think about myself. I've worked in a role before where I've had to wear a uniform, a very, very strict uniform. And I know how that as soon as you put that uniform on, you slip into a completely different role and people look at you in a different light. And I've worked in that role for, about 30 years. And I also see how people around me or other people react differently depending on how you dress. And it just gives you a sense of confidence, a sense of just, I think it's like how you start your day. Some people love to start their day with a great coffee or some fresh air or a walk. For me, what I put on sort of sets me up for the day. And if I feel good about myself, the day will normally follow accordingly. And if it doesn't, the fact that you're in a confident mode within yourself, your ability to be able to handle anything that's thrown at you seems to work better than if you're feeling a bit chaotic in how your appearance is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it's tying back to that becoming more intentional with how
Yes,
you're presenting yourself.
yes.
So when you meet someone in your line of work, what does their style communicate before they even say a word?
It's for me, it's about the presentation, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't matter if you're in tracksuit pants or casual wear. It's about, does it fit? Is it the right color for you? Do you have confidence when you're wearing it? Um, are your are your colors, you know, complementary so that when you're looking at somebody, you just feel calm. If someone's all put together in a kind of disheveled way, it makes the person looking at you, that you're looking at feel disheveled as well. It's just this energy transfer between people. And if it's an eased, relaxed, confident look, you, the receiver, start to feel that way as well. So I see it as a sense of communication between people.
Yeah, absolutely. And why do you think, in your expertise, why do you think so many women lose touch with their sense of style as they move through different stages of life?
It's all about priorities, and being a woman myself who still works full time, you're in amongst children, you've got all the different roles and all the different hats that you have on. You start to put yourself at the bottom of the list, and as soon as you do that, in actual fact, you lose the ability to influence and keep everything running in your life. So I think it's very important to keep yourself at a priority, and having the way you look, your appearance being a priority, helps set those hierarchies in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. In so with your experience, is style something that we create or something that we uncover?
I can only talk from personal experience, and I do think it's something that you uncover. that's why, to me, you can have a wardrobe full of brimming with stuff. And when you need to feel confident, often you revert to something that you know and you've worn before, you feel good in, and the new outfits or the new stuff that you have accumulated sometimes don't get a look in, because we just feel confident in things that we know that have worked before. And so after years and years of doing that, you just develop your own sense of style. Um, and I think I was saying to you over the phone that I've become like a hat and boots girl. That's like almost my identity. Not that you see that today, but when I have my boots on and my hat on and I throw a coat over whatever I might be wearing underneath, it could be something super basic. And I can tell you, I've even done that over pajamas. You just can go out there and do your thing. So it's evolved. You know what works and doesn't, what doesn't.
Yeah, I guess it comes back to how you feel in the clothes that you're wearing
Yes,
and
yes,
taking notice of that.
yes.
Yeah, so mental health, identity, and well-being, like they're just topics that are fascinating. So, um, from a health psychology perspective, what happens when we're disconnected from who we really are?
I think authenticity, and who you are at the absolute core of your mental health. And when you are giving, giving, giving to everyone else but yourself, you just lose sense of who you are. You don't feel good about yourself. Your lack of confidence starts to create anxiety. Anxiety releases cortisol. Cortisol then mucks up your digestion, and it's just this whole flow on effect. So, in actual fact, if you can look after yourself, make sure you're nourished, make sure you've slept well, make sure that you've got your favorite outfit ready to go at any time, then you reduce cortisol, you're able to digest better, you're able to think more clearly, and it's just all hand in hand. I can't tell you how many people that come to me with brain fog, and this whole clarity starts to disappear when everything is out of kilter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that women are more likely to go through those brain fog moments because we are changing roles and change our bodies are changing so much throughout our lives. So it's only natural that that would play out into our mental health as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I think cortisol is very underrated and what it does to our bodies. And if we can just take time out to make sure that you're prioritized in your nutrition, your hydration, um, your self-care, it's an investment, and that investment, then the receivers are your loved ones, your family. Everything around you benefits from your nourishment. So it's not a selfish act, it's actually the most beneficial thing to do for everyone around you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how does self-expression influence our mood, confidence, and overall mental well-being?
I think if you are in a state, it's all about that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So if anyone's familiar with that or they're not familiar, please make yourself readily available to that. At the bottom rung of safety in life, you need to just feel safe. So by feeling safe, sometimes, I don't know if anybody's ever had like a pocket handkerchief or a scarf or something, a good luck charm that they have with them to make them feel safe. And sometimes a piece of clothing can do that. If you've ever helped a child pack their bag for school camp, they want the things around them that are going to make them feel safe when they're away from home. Um, Now, I do go on tangents because I just get so passionate about all of this. If you've ever traveled and lost a suitcase, or your suitcase has been delayed or coming on a few flights later, the sense of urgency to get those belongings back, and most of it's your clothing, because to wherever you were going or whoever you were seeing or whatever event it was, without those personal items, you don't feel safe. You don't have those particular outfits that are going to, make your holiday feel very special, or the event you're going to, the wedding, the dress that you're going to wear to the wedding. Oh my gosh, what do I do now? So those items and those fashion pieces give you safety, which is the bottom rung of feeling confident in life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good way to visualize,
Mm.
our needs. And it's so much more, like fashion is about so much more than just clothing.
Oh, it is. It is, Eve. And I think I said to you the other day as well that my daughter, who's 33, received a handmade beautiful scarf recently off her friend, and she just wrapped herself in it and hugged it and said to me, "Oh, Mama, this is the best gift I've ever had," because she knew there was so much love in that item.
Mm.
Mm, yeah, I could talk about this for hours, so you'll need to just say.
Absolutely. Oh, it's just so good. But like, you do not get that from fast fashion or from poorly made garments or from, what everyone else is wearing. It's always, does come back to individuality, those intentional choices that you make, um,
Yes.
as to what you're surrounding yourself with.
Mm.
So we'll jump back to the questions. You, I could speak to you all day, but you've worked in both psychology and naturopathy. What
Yes.
connections do you see between mind, body, and our sense of identity?
Oh, it's fully connected. So doing my naturopathy consults, they usually go for about an hour and a half. And people come in with a physical ailment. That's why they're coming to see me. So, for example, they might have irritable bowel or something like that. And lo and behold, within that 1.5 hour consultation, when I look at their whole body system, the thing that's usually driving their physical ailment is something to do with their mental state.
Mm.
So this is why the gut brain connection is really gaining traction, and we're seeing behaviors very connected to state of mind, state of thoughts, to how it affects the gut. And there's an enteric nervous system. We have an enteric nervous system that nobody talks about within the gut, and it's affected exactly by what we're thinking. So, um, when you're able to have self-care, feeling good about yourself, what you're wearing, it all calms down the nervous system, which can then calm down your hormones and your cortisol and your gut. So it's just interconnected. You cannot separate them. And the way we live our life is we try and separate these things, but they can't be. They're integral. So it's all intertwined, just like fabric, completely intertwined.
Yeah, right. Fascinating.
Mm,
So we often hear about the gut-brain connection,
mm.
which we've just touched on, but how do our daily choices influence how we feel, think, and show up in the world?
Every single thing to do with your self-care, your nutrition, your sleep, and your hydration are going to affect you. Um, so, for example, if you have a very hearty breakfast and then you do not drink your fluids during the day, the nutrients from that breakfast will not even be able to be transported around your body properly, because the fluid intake is your transport system. Once your nutrients have been cleaved, so to speak, from the food, they need to be transported by all of the nutrition, all of your hydration. So if you have chosen not to take your drink bottle with you and keep filling it up, or conversely, you haven't had a nutritional breakfast, there's nothing to transport around your body. So every single choice we make is very, very important. If we choose not to get our 6 to 8 hours of sleep, it's going to affect you the next day, and your decision making, your brain fog, all of those things will come into play.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's fascinating, our society and how we're conditioned to search for the next thing.
Mm.
It feels like we're constantly being told that we need to buy the next product, jump on the next trend, purchase, or, transformation. What, why are we always looking outside of ourselves, do you think?
I do think that there's just an immense pressure these days. There's, social media imagery is causing a lot of havoc, and I could go on for hours about the negative effects actually of social media. So I think what we really need to do, and this is what I've talked about before, about becoming less digital and more analog. So just getting back to touchy feely, what makes you feel good, and they're the basics in life. That bottom rung, the good food, the nice clothing that makes you feel safe. Just getting back to basics, and that's what I love. What you do, we're just recycling and redoing and going back to the things that give us a feeling. Um, yeah, so just getting those feelings from everyday simplicities is vital.
Mm. And I guess taking notice as well. So,
Mm.
taking the time to notice what lights you up, what feels good,
Yes.
also comes into that. So when in our previous discussions, you mentioned something that really resonated with me, which is people are looking for the next best thing, but it's always inside of you. Can you talk a bit more about that?
Um, I think we've lost touch of feeling passion or feeling energies around us. And that comes down to mindfulness, because when you are hyper busy, you're not stopping to feel.
Mm.
And if we can just stop and take note of what makes us feel good. And often it's the same old things. It's a beautiful piece of music, it's a good song in the car. It's, how do we react when we're driving and all of a sudden we see a rainbow? Um, it Everything just stops for that moment. Even if you listen to your partner, your family, your kids, they'll stop at a moment where it's something to do with getting back to nature or something that makes them feel good. Or they'll find a toy, an old toy in their cupboard that they didn't know was at the bottom of the pile, and they'll come and they'll be all huggied and look what I found. So we've got to stop and always think, what is it today that makes me feel good?
Mm.
And it's mindfulness. And as soon as you start taking note of what's making you feel good, you'll say, oh my gosh, it's right in front of me. I'm just too busy to notice.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. So, and what do you think happens when we stop chasing and start listening to ourselves?
Just slowing down allows our thought processes to absorb, because we've got stuff coming at us. It's like ping, 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 ping. We just need to stop, listen, take note, and journalize. Like, write it down. Don't get a computer out and start taking notes. Get a book, something you can hold, something you can feel, something you can open, and write stuff down. And when things become repetitive, when you find a pattern, go for it. If you start thinking about the same thing repeatedly, the energy around you is telling you something. People are returning to painting and to knitting and to sewing and to craft. My son recently crocheted a little turtle for me because he just thought, I just want to give that a go. and he couldn't believe how therapeutic it was.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I just think wind back and think what makes you feel good. Go with how you feel, not with what you think.
Mm, yeah, it's that
And then
deeper.
get
Um,
fabric. And I also teach, so I'm in schools, and today I've had a day in a school with beautiful young people. And so often, if I wear something that's very silky, or today I had a big fur coat on, the children couldn't stop just wanting to touch that fur. And I said, they're like, oh, your coat is so snuggly. And I said, I've had this coat for 30 years. And this is what I'm finding. The older the clothes, the more they love them, because
mm,
they've got these amazing textures and feels and looks that they're not accustomed to.
yeah, absolutely. That's really cool. Another reason to buy vintage.
Oh, vintage. The younger people are loving vintage, and I see the passion in their face. So yes, all of this vintage stuff, bring it back, bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've touched on this, but just to highlight, how can women begin reconnecting with themselves when they feel lost or disconnected?
Okay, take half an hour or an hour. I know we're busy, busy, busy people, but if you can take half an hour or an hour to just go through your wardrobe, because it's all there. It's all in there ready to go. It's just that it's become cluttered, or you've got too much. So get rid of some stuff. Get your old favorites out. Get your favorites out, and then get some vintage items or some recycled items to add as new accessories to the stuff that you already have. And that will make you feel like $1,000,000 without spending $1,000,000. A beautiful new scarf, a pair of gloves, like just add some beautiful gloves, a scarf, a brooch. Brooches are coming back. Get out these things, recycle them, go to places like where you offer, and add to what you've already got. Don't go buying new and more. We don't need
Mm.
more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are interviewing some stylists and some declutterers as part of the Project Emerald Collective. So they're all going to have great tips. So listeners come back and, yeah, listen to their stories and their advice. So jumping into circular fashion and finding gems,
Mm.
you love op shopping and circular fashion, which is
Yes.
awesome to hear. And you've got your daughter into it, which is awesome as also. What keeps drawing you back to it?
The reactions of other people and how it makes me feel. So my daughter and I go op shopping, or we just see little treasures along the way, and you put them on, and first of all you get a feel. Now, this is where I can get a little bit esoteric. I do believe in energy transfers, and I know that I've lost beautiful people in my life, including my dad. But when I wear something of his, I feel his energy with me. And I do have stuff of his that I still wear. But even with op shopping, I think there can be energy transfer from people's clothing and belongings. And it can be beautiful energy, and it can be very historical energy that is still sitting there, that can easily be transferred to the new purchaser. So I'm all about that. And I also see reactions of people. So particularly when I work in a school, I'm one of the oldest staff members there, and I'm surrounded by very beautiful teaching staff in their early 20s. And they wait for me at the gate some mornings to say, we can't wait to see what you're wearing. And I say, but this is 20, 30 years old, or I just got it at the op shop the other day. But they love it. They love it. They love the color, the brightness, or the different type of sleeves, or something about it that we've lost in the fast fashion of today.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so Is there a parallel, do you think, in finding hidden treasures in op shops and discovering parts of ourselves that we've forgotten?
Oh, definitely. I'm just going to tell you briefly a story. One of my patients who came to me, and she's been a cancer sufferer, but she's in her post 5 years of clearance. But she comes to see me, and we just check up on all of her health. And she said to me that she loves to sew, so she went to a garage sale and bought a little sewing box. But when she got home, she opened up the sewing box, and in there was a brooch that was just sitting at the bottom of the pile. And her mental health has been suffering so much lately. But when she got that brooch from the bottom of the sewing box and put it on, she went to her workplace and she said she couldn't believe it. It gave her so much confidence. There was some sort of power in that brooch that gave her confidence, and she was able to actually start to make amends with some of the bad energy that she had with her fellow workers. And I just thought,
Wow.
this is incredible. She, just from a brooch that obviously belonged to someone else, she doesn't know who, but it gave her power. And it helped a lot with her mental health, which is very, very important, as we said again, for all of those chemical reactions in your body to keep your physical health well.
Absolutely.
Mm.
That's so cool. It'd be like
Yes.
finding treasure.
Yes, yes, treasure, but there's it's pre-owned, and it's hard to explain how sometimes that transfer of energy is very beneficial to your wellness.
Mm, that's so cool. What makes a piece of clothing feel special or meaningful, do you think?
I think it's for our field that you and I are very interested in right now with circular fashion. It's the energy of that piece,
Mm,
and that is something very hard to explain. Um, so that piece of clothing, you don't know the history of that piece of clothing. Like, was that handmade? Where did the fabric come from? Was it Australia? Was it our own beautiful sheep, or is it wool, or is it cotton? Is it from overseas? So you think of that piece of fabric or that item, it has an entire story that we don't know about. So you can't tell me that that item that's traveled from person to person or country to your house hasn't got a story to tell that doesn't transfer some of it to you. Um, and some people can say, oh, that could be, how could that be? But if something gives you a feeling, you try and explain it. Try and explain when you meet a complete stranger that you two feel like you've known each other for years. That's
mm,
energy transfer, complete energy transfer. And this is happening all around us. A dog who would run across the road to come over and say hello to you when you're walking along the street, because that dog can feel your energy. So energy is very real, whether you have a belief in it or not. But my experience tells me that it's a vital part of our health and well-being. So
mm.
this is why, if we can start to get this circular fashion, people understand its power. Um, Maybe there's a little inkling there to help us with our health and well-being.
Yeah, that's so cool. And do you think fabrics play a part in the energy that you bring that come into your life or that you put out into the world?
Yes, and I'm a huge advocate of natural fibres, because I know how the body breathes and how it doesn't breathe depending on the fibre that you have. And I deal with a lot of people with skin conditions and eczemas and psoriasis, and acne, or any type of skin condition. And the fabric that you put near or around your skin has a huge influence. So yes, fabric speaks to us, and the way its original source, the way it's created, and the way it died. All of those things make a big difference, and I think our awareness needs to rise and how this affects our health. What we sleep in, the sheets, the pajamas, what we put. This is something very close to my heart. Like what we put babies in, the fibres are critical when we're putting those babies to bed. Those fibres need to be breathable.
Mm.
So there's so much with fabric. It tells stories that affects our health.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And do you think we value things differently when they have a story?
absolutely we do. I mean, if you're a hoarder like I am, I have treasures everywhere because I can't get rid of the stories, little things that I've had since a child, then things that people have given to me with sentimental value. Um, the story is very important. We used to keep good old, photos in albums because the story was there in a book that we opened. So yes, these stories are all around us. It's how we decorate our house. It's how we dress. It's the bed linen we put on. Do we want a big bright floral bed, or do we want something that looks really earthy and cozy and sleepy? Every fabric's telling us a story every day.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so returning to analog, I find that super cool how you've
Mm,
explained that previously.
yes.
So returning to analog, what does that mean to you?
I As we all know, we've become digitalized, whether it be digital clocks, digital watches, computers, so many, screen time. We're just digitalized wherever we go. But when we start to get back into nature, we put our feet on the soil, we walk in the sand, we swim in the sea, we we make something for ourselves, whether it be we cook, or we make a scarf, or we decide that we're going to have a go at some dressmaking. The sense of touch and feel that we get as a human being from that is it outweighs anything that we get from a screen,
Mm.
because a screen is not, it just doesn't give us the feel. It's all about
Mm.
the feel, and I'll just keep repeating that word.
Yeah.
And it's the same, like, I know, Eve, we've only met digitally, but I know when I meet you in person, we're going to have a completely different sense of each other.
Mm.
And so that will be an analog meeting when we're face to face, and I'll give you a big hug because I'm a huggy person.
Same.
And I'll feel your energy, whereas it's very hard. I see you on a screen. It's a different thing, person to person. And that's what we've got to do, person to person, more of.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good in some ways, like that we can meet like this, but I do
Yes.
yeah, it's not it doesn't feel as real.
Mm. And those feelings. And I always say to people, this is one little analogy I've got about a memory. So when we think of some of our best memories, it's not about the visual of what we can remember, it's about how we felt at that time.
Mm.
Um, that's how memories are created, about how we feel. It's not looking at a photo and saying, oh, that was the best time of my life. That photo is only backed up by how you felt in that photo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And you can't fake that.
no, not at all.
Yeah. Um, in a world, what have we lost, do you think, in a world of constant scrolling, shopping, and comparison?
Mm. We've lost the personability, the personal connection. And oh, a little example that just hit me recently. I went for a job interview, and it was within my workplace, a workplace that I go to 3 times a week. And it was for a promotion, and I thought, fantastic, I've got an interview. And I expected that I would go in with my peers and my cohort, all the people that know me, and sit with a panel and have an interview. But they sent me a link to do an interview via a Zoom, a very early hour of the morning, so that it didn't interfere with our workday. And I just completely couldn't function in the interview because I'm like, these are the people I know. This is my workplace. I want to go into the office and explain to you why I would be the best person for this promotion. And I
Mm.
just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it over the screen. And I thought, this is just, it just doesn't work. And
It's
so,
interesting because you're
yeah,
really good on screen.
thank you. But I feel like I'm so much better in person.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't know. We've lost the personability, and yeah, just that social contact. And when you go overseas, I don't know if you've ever been. Have you ever been to Europe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to go earlier this year, and that was another moment where I was walking around, interacting with complete strangers, because the personability I find in Europe is at a much higher level than where we're at now. We've all become quite introverted and into ourselves and into our digital profiles, and this personability is lost.
Mm.
Well, it's not lost completely, but we need to get that fishing line out and reel it back in.
Yeah, true.
Mm.
I think experiences will become more popular for that reason in the
Yes,
companies. Yeah.
yes.
What are some simple practices that help people reconnect with themselves?
Um, Number one, nature. Forget about the weather. Forget about, people. The whole winter campaign about going down to Tasmania gets me very frustrated. Tasmania in the winter is one of the most beautiful, amazing places on earth. And we should be enticing people to go down to Tassie and get your hat on, get your beanie on, get your gloves on, get your scarf, get your coat, and get down amongst nature. It's Europe at your doorstep there in Tasmania, and it is so nourishing. The whole
Mm.
place is nourishing. And is my little plug there for Tassie. But just get out. Don't say, "Oh, it's cold. Oh, it's rainy. Oh, it's whatever." Just get out there. Connect with nature every day, even if
Mm.
it's just for 15 minutes. Smell the roses. These are all cliched sayings, but smell the roses. Did anyone look at the blue full moon the other day? I took a photo of it. It was incredible. Like, be aware of what's happening in the solar system, in the universe. Check out the plants and how they soak up the rain and flourish.
Mm.
Nature, 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 nature. There's your cure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that quote. I'm not sure who said it, but there's no such thing as bad weather. It's just bad clothing choices.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. And there's your circular stuff. Some
Mm.
of the most amazing jackets and coats that are out there, secondhand, and they keep you safe. They
Mm.
rub you up, they keep you warm and keep you safe. So, yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially like shopping secondhand is
Mm.
like when you're going on holidays somewhere that you don't normally, you're not normally in that climate, like shopping secondhand is the way to go, especially for those situations.
Yes, and you can fill up your case with all these wonderful things, cheaply. It's
Mm.
affordable fashion. So
Yeah.
isn't that amazing? You get affordability, you get energy from it, you get
Mhm.
comments from other people, you have stuff that no one else has got. It
Mm.
gives you individuality, it gives you safety,
Yeah,
identity. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
So what role do you think fashion can play in helping us become more intentional rather than more consumptive?
Mm. And you know what? It's taken me a long time to learn this myself because I have been a stuff girl. I've said that a few times. I see something and I can't resist it, and I think, oh, that'll be great. But then you end up with too much choice. And I think that's a big problem these days, way too much choice. So I think to minimize, keep the core, the basics, and this is where I think some, education in fashion is really beneficial to keep those your capsule wardrobe, and then add to it with circular fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go through your wardrobe, keep your basics. That's what I mean. Get that half an hour, 1 hour clean out. Keep the core items, and then go op shopping or shop with you, and add some fabulous pieces, and you will feel regenerated.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess going back to the when you touched on energy and memories, like keeping the things that you have great memories of and that give you good energy, and then
Yes.
feeling empowered to get rid of the rest and update with other more interesting things that suit your style, suit your personality, suit where you're at in life is the way to go.
Mm. I couldn't agree with you more. The way you just said that was so succinct and so accurate.
Yeah, thank you. Um, Sharon, what does living intentionally mean to you?
Once again, I know the mindfulness word gets bandied around a lot, but just having clarity of, does it serve you or it doesn't? And I think as you get older, you get very, very good at that. And you think, is this working for me or isn't it? And just be intentional on that. And once you get to that place, it's quite liberating. And that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't even want to go back in time, back to my youth. I'm quite happy being a woman in my 60s because I'm really clear cut now. Oh, if it works or it doesn't. And it
Hmm.
takes a long time. And I
Hmm.
envy the young people who get that early.
Yeah.
Some people get that early, and it took me for a long time to get to this place. So if you can speed that up, do it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Uh, Stop being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Please, yeah, I've been the biggest people pleaser ever. Um, Work out that if you actually make the right decisions for yourself, please yourself, you become much more able to give to
Hmm.
others. And I didn't realize that. I just thought by giving, 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 that's how you give to others.
Hmm.
But you give to yourself, and then your light will shine. It's a very simple formula.
Yeah, absolutely. And lastly, if there's one thing, I'm not ready for it to end, but we should probably wrap up. Um, is there, if there's one thing that you'd like women listening to remember, what would it be?
Don't be part of the sisterhood. Now you're thinking, what is the sisterhood? Okay. For me, the sisterhood is, as a woman, you do listen a lot to all of the chatter around you from other women trying to guide you, trying to make your decisions, especially about relationships or fashion or a certain look or a hair color or whatever. You can listen to them because they're your friends, but be careful because they don't always have your best interests at heart.
Mm.
And I've been caught up in that. I've been caught up in trying to listen to other people's advice, and they've led me down the garden path. And I have intuitively known that it's not where I really want to be, but I've gone with it anyway because you feel that group pressure.
Hmm.
So, as a woman, try and become confident in your own skin as soon as you can. Set your boundaries, listen to your friends, agree when you do feel you want to agree, but don't be afraid to say that's not for you.
Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
It
Yeah, I
takes
couldn't
a
agree
long
more.
time. It took me
Mhm.
to, yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, thank you so much.
that's all
Is
right.
there anything else you wanted to share?
I just wanted to say that I've come into a really beautiful space with people like yourself and everyone involved in the Tasmanian Fashion Festival. And I didn't realize the the like-mindedness of beautiful people like yourself, how good that is for my own mental health as well, to just meet up with people who have got drive to come together as a cohort and a collaboration to make other people feel good about themselves. And we're doing it collectively, and collection gets a movement started. And I just want to thank you. Thank you for being part of a collective.
Thank you so much, Sharon. That means so much. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And it is like we do when we take our power back and become live more intentionally, imagine we can just create so much good in the world.
Wow, we can, because flying solo is too hard.
Mm,
It's absolutely too hard. And so finding like-minded passion, you've got to have passion. It's got to come from the heart. It's not about self fulfillment. It's about coming from the heart for the collective.
mhm.
If you can do that, it comes back in spades. And we can shine the light on everyone, and then they shine the light on everyone, and it's a movement.
Yeah,
That's what I can,
absolutely.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I've loved it.
Mm.